Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
On July 16, 1945, at 5:29 in the morning, the New Mexico desert was dark and quiet. Then, a huge, bright light appeared. It was a flash so strong that people could see it from 200 miles away. The air became hotter than 1,000,000 degrees in the middle. The ground shook hard, and windows broke far away. A giant cloud, shaped like a mushroom, went up 40,000 feet into the sky. It cast a big shadow over the land below. This was the Trinity test, the culmination of a secret project. After the cloud came down, it left a large hole in the ground. The sand had turned into glass. Humans had just made a very powerful weapon. This moment changed history forever. We had crossed a point from which we could not return. J. Robert Oppenheimer, the main scientist, watched this explosion. Later, he thought about an old book and said, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." These words showed how serious this event was. It captured the huge weight of what had just begun. To understand this secret project, called the Manhattan Project, you must first know why it started. In 1938, people were very scared. Adolf Hitler had full power in Germany. Europe was close to a big war. In Berlin, scientists inadvertently found something amazing and scary. They discovered nuclear fission. This meant they could split an atom and release a lot of energy.
If they could do this many times quickly, they could build a bomb more powerful than anything known. The big question in 1938 and 1939 was not if such a bomb was possible, but who would build it first. Many renowned scientists were Jewish and had run away from Nazi Germany. They came to America and Britain. They knew what a nuclear bomb in Hitler's hands would mean. They were very afraid. In 1939, Albert Einstein and other scientists wrote to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. They warned him that Germany might be making such a weapon. After this, and a report from Britain, and the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, the United States started the Manhattan Project. This was an ambitious and secret plan. It was a race to build the atomic bomb first. This huge project was very important and morally difficult. It set the stage for a new time in human history. 2. The start of the secret. The secret of the atomic bomb began in 1938. In Berlin, German scientists Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann made a surprising discovery. They found out how to split an atom's center. This process is called fission. It released a huge amount of energy. Many scientists quickly understood the theoretical ideas behind this. If you could keep splitting atoms in a chain reaction, you could create energy on a massive scale. If this happened quickly and violently, it could lead to a bomb unlike any other weapon ever conceived.
The big question in 1938 and 1939 was not just if such a bomb was physically possible, but who would build it first. Many of the world's smartest physicists were Jewish and had already escaped fascist countries in Europe, like Nazi Germany and Italy. They came to Britain and America, bringing their scientific brilliance and their fear. Scientists like Enrico Fermi, born in Rome, and Leo Szilard, a Hungarian Jew, understood very well what a nuclear weapon in Hitler's hands would mean for the world. In July 1939, Leo Szilard and others asked the renowned physicist Albert Einstein for his help.
Einstein was on holiday in Long Island, New York. He wrote a famous letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. This letter, now known as the Einstein-Szilard letter, warned the president. It said that recent scientific work made it possible to start nuclear chain reactions in a large amount of uranium. This new phenomenon would also lead to the construction of bombs. The letter specifically warned that Germany might already be secretly pursuing such a weapon. President Roosevelt then created a committee to investigate this dangerous possibility. For a while, progress was slow. The president was cautious, and funding for the research was modest. The idea of spending billions of dollars on a secret weapon was huge. Then, two very important things changed everything, forcing the United States to act. The first was a British report. In the spring of 1941, a British group, the Maud Committee, released a landmark finding. They concluded that an atomic bomb was not only theoretically possible, but practically achievable within a few years. They strongly suggested working closely with the United States. The second important event was the sudden Japanese attack on the American fleet at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. The United States entered World War II overnight. The urgency of everything, including atomic research, increased immediately. On December 28, 1942, President Roosevelt officially authorized the formation of the Manhattan Project. This was a top-secret plan to combine various research efforts with the goal of turning nuclear energy into a weapon. The race to build the bomb was now fully on, becoming the most expensive secret project in American history. 3. Building the Big Bomb. The Manhattan Project was a huge secret, an undertaking of unbelievable scale. It was bigger than almost anything built before, employing about 130,000 people across America. For many, it was like an entire hidden civilization built overnight. Most workers did not know what they were helping to create. They were strictly forbidden to ask questions about their tasks. Signs everywhere reminded them that secrecy was a patriotic duty. One famous sign at Oak Ridge even said, "What you see here, what you do here, what you hear here, when you leave here, let it stay here."
The project had 3 main secret locations, or cities. Each played a different but very important role in building the big bomb. First was Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Here, scientists faced a tough challenge. They needed to get a rare type of uranium called uranium-235. This uranium was special because it could cause a fast chain reaction needed for a bomb. But in nature, less than 1% of uranium is this special kind. So engineers built giant factories to separate this tiny amount of valuable uranium from the much more common uranium-238. Second was Hanford, Washington. This site focused on making a different new material, plutonium. Scientists found that they could make plutonium by putting uranium inside special machines called nuclear reactors. Hanford built the world's first large nuclear reactors. These machines became incredibly hot, so they needed huge amounts of water to cool them down. The nearby Columbia River was essential for this, becoming a crucial part of the industrial system. Third was Los Alamos, New Mexico. This isolated laboratory was perched high on a mountain. Here, the brightest scientific minds of the 20th century gathered. Led by J. Robert Oppenheimer, their job was to design and assemble the actual atomic bombs.
They worked on two main designs, known as Little Boy and Fat Man. The work environment was very intense. Workers often saw the products they helped create vanish into unmarked trucks.
No one spoke about where these trucks were going or what their contents truly were. This massive endeavor was kept a deep secret, even from America's vice president at the time, Harry Truman, who learned about it only after becoming president. The General and the Smart Man. The Manhattan Project needed two very different leaders. General Leslie Groves was a military man, strict and demanding. J. Robert Oppenheimer was a brilliant scientist, known for his deep thinking. It was surprising that these two men, with such different personalities, managed to work together without tearing the project apart. Their ability to respect each other's roles was key. General Groves was known for his ruthless efficiency. An Army Corps of Engineers officer, he had managed the building of the Pentagon. Groves did not care much for the culture of scientists. He only cared about finishing the project quickly and successfully. He chose sites, negotiated contracts, and controlled the budget. His clear goal and strong will kept the huge project moving, always pushing to meet deadlines. Oppenheimer was a theoretical physicist, a man of ideas. Many worried about his past political views, which were left-leaning. He also lacked experience leading big organizations. But General Groves picked him as the scientific director. This decision was one of the most important. Oppenheimer was extraordinary. He had a rare mix of smart scientific ideas and a strong personal charisma. This allowed him to inspire hundreds of intelligent, sometimes stubborn scientists. He made them work as one unified team under extreme pressure and isolation, focusing on the common goal. Life at Los Alamos was very unusual. Scientists and their families lived in a closed compound on a lonely mesa in New Mexico. The government watched their mail closely and tracked their movements. Strict censorship was in place to keep all project details secret. Children born there received birth certificates with only a P.O. box address. Even with such strict rules and the sense of being cooped up, a rich intellectual life grew there. Scientists played chess, enjoyed music, and talked deeply about physics and philosophy. They also hiked in the nearby mountains. This isolated setting brought many of the world's greatest scientific minds close together. This unique situation bound them into a powerful, focused community, all working towards building the atomic bomb. The balance of these two leaders, one military and one scientific, helped the project succeed under pressure. 5. Spies in the dark. The Manhattan Project was very secret, but vital information leaked from inside. As the bomb neared completion, a shocking betrayal threatened to give its power to a future enemy. At Los Alamos, 2 spies worked. Klaus Fuchs, a brilliant German scientist, helped design the Fat Man bomb. Secretly, he passed crucial details to the Soviet Union, its function, size, parts, and uranium making. Fuchs believed the U.S. should not be the only country with this weapon. He wanted global power to be equal, not spying for money, but due to his strong beliefs called ideological motivations. Theodore Hall, a 19-year-old Harvard scientist at Los Alamos, also helped the Soviets. He believed sharing secrets would balance global power. Hall was not caught until after the Cold War. American intelligence failed to catch these spies.
Fuchs and Hall gave key bomb designs to the Soviets, helping them build their bomb faster. They tested it in 1949, just 4 years after the U.S. This short U.S. monopoly sped up the Cold War. In 1995, the U.S. opened secret Soviet messages, Venona files, confirming the spies. Fuchs confessed in 1950, leading to arrests like Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, executed in 1953. Their story was a very controversial part of Cold War history. These spies started the nuclear arms race sooner. This accelerated global conflict danger and made nuclear warfare real. This secret war had huge consequences for everyone. 6. The Great Flash. By the summer of 1945, the project was finished. The weapons were ready. The first test, called Trinity, showed they worked. 2 bombs, Little Boy and Fat Man, waited to be used. In Europe, the war was over. Germany had given up in May. But in the Pacific, fighting with Japan was still very hard. American soldiers were dying in battles on islands like Iwo Jima. Military leaders planned to invade Japan. They thought this invasion would start in November 1945. President Harry S. Truman was told that many American soldiers, perhaps hundreds of thousands, could die. Japanese people would also suffer greatly. President Truman and his team faced a very agonizing choice. They could invade Japan and lose many lives, or use the new, terrible bombs. A group of scientists wrote the Frank Report. They asked for a demonstration of the bomb first, in a place with no people. They believed using the bomb on a city without warning would erode America's good name and start a nuclear arms race. But this idea was not chosen. So on August 6, 1945, an American plane dropped Little Boy on the city of Hiroshima. The city had more than 300,000 people. In moments, 80,000 people died. The heat was very strong, like 5,400 degrees Fahrenheit. Buildings turned to ash. The city was almost gone. 3 days later, on August 9th, a second bomb hit Nagasaki. Another 35,000 to 40,000 people died right away. Soon after, Japan said it would surrender. In the months after, many more people died from the bombs. Radiation caused illnesses, and survivors faced disfigurement and deep sadness. The choice to use the bombs is still debated today. Some say it saved more lives by stopping a long, bloody invasion.
Others say Japan was already close to giving up, and a different path could have been taken without such huge loss of civilian lives. This act left a lasting mark on human history. 7. The sad cost. The story of the atomic bomb often focuses on great scientists and big events, but many people suffered because of the project. These hidden victims paid a sad cost. Large areas of land were needed for the secret bomb sites, Oak Ridge, Hanford, and Los Alamos. Native American families had lived on these lands for many generations. The government forced them to leave their homes. They received little money and no clear reasons. Their history on the land was erased. Workers in the factories at Oak Ridge and Hanford also faced danger. Many were women and Black Americans. They worked hard, often without knowing what they were making. They were exposed to radiation that could not be seen or felt. Years later, many of these workers got sick. They suffered from cancers and other illnesses caused by this exposure. Far away in the Belgian Congo, miners dug up the uranium needed for the bomb. They worked in terrible conditions under colonial rule. Their hard work was very important for the project, but their suffering was largely forgotten. In New Mexico, after the first bomb test, known as Trinity, radioactive dust spread across the land. People living downwind from the test site became known as downwinders.
Many of them, especially Hispanic and Native American communities, got sick. They experienced cancers, miscarriages, and other problems due to the fallout. The land itself, like Hanford, still holds dangerous contamination today. The scientists, too, felt the weight of their creation. J. Robert Oppenheimer, the project's leader, later spoke against building even more powerful bombs like the hydrogen bomb. Because of his past political views and his new opposition, he lost his security clearance during the Red Scare in 1954. This was a time when the U.S. government was very worried about communism. He was no longer allowed to advise the government he had helped so much. It was a sad end for the man who was called the father of the atomic bomb. This showed the heavy moral cost that even the creators faced. 8. The world we have now. The Manhattan Project did not just end World War II, it created the world we live in today. After the war, the world entered a new time called the Atomic Age. This time also brought the Cold War. In August 1949, the Soviet Union detonated its first atomic bomb. This ended America's monopoly on nuclear weapons. Within a few years, both the United States and the Soviet Union, now seen as superpowers, had even stronger hydrogen bombs. These new bombs were hundreds of times more powerful than the ones dropped on Japan. By the 1960s, both countries had enough nuclear bombs to destroy human civilization many times over. This led to a strange idea called mutual assured destruction, or MAD. The idea was simple. Neither side would use its nuclear weapons, because doing so would mean their own total annihilation. This idea, often called nuclear deterrence, has mostly worked for 80 years. It means countries are afraid to attack each other with nuclear weapons. Because of this, no nuclear weapon has been used in war since Nagasaki. However, the world has faced dangerous moments. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 brought the United States and the Soviet Union very close to a nuclear war. In 1983, a Soviet officer named Stanislav Petrov chose not to report a false alarm about American missiles. His brave decision might have stopped a global nuclear war. The legacy of the Manhattan Project is deeply ambiguous. It gave us weapons of terrible power that caused great destruction. But because of the idea of nuclear deterrence, it might also have stopped a third world war between major global powers, saving many lives. The same science also led to good things. Today, nuclear power plants create about 10% of the world's electricity. Nuclear medicine, like special scans, PET scans, and radiation treatments, help save millions of lives every year.
These diagnostic tools and therapies are a direct result of the scientific breakthroughs from that time. The project also transformed how science, government, and the military work together. It created a model for large-scale, government-funded research focused on specific goals. This way of doing science is now common. It supports important organizations like DARPA, NASA, and the National Institutes of Health. Much of how modern research universities operate, combining different fields and experts, also comes from this model. In many ways, we live in a world that the Manhattan Project helped build. Thinking about all this, we must ask an important question. If you were President Truman, would you have ordered the atomic bomb to be dropped to end the war quickly? Or would you have risked a costly invasion of Japan, knowing many more soldiers and civilians might die? The answers are not easy, and people still think about them today, living in the shadow of that historic choice.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world.